I think Eric is going to be great as first selectman, and Maria Capriola, I think, will be very good as the town manager as well. So I think we're in good shape.
Okay, but I don't understand. I mean, I really just don't understand the division of the responsibilities. And I know it's not printed clearly anyplace, but if you think, here was a job for a selectman, and I know it was also town manager. But then we create 2 jobs.
Right.
And I'm not sure we're even going to get to pay Eric anything when it gets settled down. So that means, I don't know, maybe he is independently wealthy. Otherwise, he has to work a full-time job.
So the job of first selectman will now be part-time. So that's one difference.
You can't do it as a part-time job.
Well, it's changed, though. So the job I hold is both chairman of the Board of Selectmen and the CEO of the town and the chief elected official of the town, right? So as we switched, so I did both, not only policy, but the day-to-day administration of the town. The town manager, when she comes in, will do the administrative piece, and Eric will still be the chief elected official, and run the Board of Selectmen meetings, and so the legislative piece.
So that's Eric's job, to run those meetings.
Yes, and do policy, help set policy for the
And
town.
who goes to the picnics and
they can still go to the picnics, absolutely. They can do that.
I know anybody can do that, but that's extremely time-consuming.
It
is.
is.
First selectman, that part of the job is like round the clock,
It is a lot of work. It's a labor of love. You don't do this job for money.
If you're working a 40, 60-hour week, no matter how you love it, you got to say yes and no to some things. And then there has to be time to communicate with the town manager.
Sure.
Oh, the town manager could become the secretary to the Board of Selectmen meetings, and then they'd have firsthand all the notes, and that would save Eric some time.
So there will still be a town clerk who takes the minutes for the meetings, and Ms. Capriola, the town manager, will attend all the meetings and still help assist the board with their deliberations. So it'll be a similar role in that sense to what Mr. Cook does right now. So, and she'll help set policy, but her job is really the day-to-day running of the town. So if a constituent has a problem right now, they can come to me, and I can take care of it, can talk with staff to take care of it. In the future, if there's a problem, with a road or a mailbox, they would go through the town manager.
Yeah, and the town manager could say, well, that policy really has to be clarified by the Board of Selectmen, so why don't you take it to them?
Yeah, well, the policy will be set by the Board of Selectmen as it is right now.
I know, but the first selectman was there and knows the question and can direct the conversation on what the solution will be. See, I'm not giving up on those things. This is how we're working at least. Okay. Oh, well, let's back up a minute on the budget stuff, the state budget.
Okay.
Whack, 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 whack. And then, oh, not so bad. You start to breathe a sigh, and then one final nut.
2, actually. We had another one Monday.
Oh, no. Was it a give back or another whack?
No, we had been granted a grant from the state of Connecticut to do some street improvements, so sidewalks and lighting improvements, and that was pulled back. That was about $400,000 that they changed their mind on, or that there wasn't. I shouldn't say changed their mind. There wasn't going to be grant bonding money available to do that anymore. So another, consequence of the state fiscal, I don't know what, call it mismanagement or state fiscal chaos.
It's been going on for a long, long time.
Yeah.
And one of the things that there's a two-sided case that could be made for state employees and for teachers. They continue to have defined benefit plans. Almost all companies eliminated those a good number of years back and went to 401k. And the difference is that in a defined benefit based on a combination of years of service, income, contributions, and pre-calculated interest earnings, the company, or in this case the state, makes a commitment. Here's your schedule, and you will get this when you retire.
It's a guaranteed payment, yes.
Right. 401k says you put some in, we put some in. You have discretion on whether you want it to be fixed, conservative, more volatile. But what it is what it is. So as it continues to perform in a much less dynamic way than it had been predicted for the defined benefit, people with 401ks across the board now receive much less
So I don't know.
benefit.
You're absolutely right. And that is, a hardship. We see, even just around town now, you see people who don't have pensions and they're struggling in their later years because they don't have the defined
benefit. Yeah.
benefit. So it's harsh. But to your point, a lot of people don't have it, and we're asking our state residents to pay for it for someone else. Yeah, it's a tough dilemma. I don't think it would be quite so tough if the state had contributed what they were required to contribute. We wouldn't be in this pickle.
Well, yeah. What they would have been on the spot in the same way the companies would have been is if you're actually losing money, they would have had to raise money somewhere else if they had not taken it from the pension plan. I'm surprised legally they ever could take it from the pension plans, but they could, and they have for 20-some years. So,
30, yeah.
Yeah, big
70, some people say.
Yeah, big hole to climb out of.
It is a big hole.
And then the other thing on the national level, and this I just heard today, so I don't know that it's true, but initially in the campaign, the conversation was Medicare, Medicaid will not be affected. And while Medicare and Medicaid are a national program, it's administered by the states. And, of course, as it comes along now, what's being proposed is not going to give the states, especially one like Connecticut, anything relative to their cost, but just here's your amount. Do with it what you can, and what you can't do, your problem. Come up with it. And we do have in Connecticut low-income subsidy plans that allow people to get Medicare, Medicaid, and if they're below a certain income level, nothing. That's a very, very modest level. And I don't know that this is true, but because I'm in the business, you get kind of advanced stuff, that level is going to be reduced by half.
Yes.
That's insane.
So that's about $1 million in benefits to that Simsbury residents get from that program, and they are going to reduce the qualifying income. So we actually, in one of our last Board of Selectmen meetings, not on Monday, but at the one before, we had our Director of Social Services come in and speak to that, and we raised that as an issue with the board.
This is Kristen?
Yeah, Kristen. Okay. And then a couple other things that happened with the state budget is for a while, we thought they weren't going to fund renter's rebate, which also gets us to our lowest income. They have since decided to do that, but require municipalities to pay half, so they're going to reduce us in some other area towards that contribution towards renter rebate. And right now, we offer, the senior citizen circuit breaker, which is a tax abatement, which is mandated by the state, but they had always paid for the lost revenue, and they've now declined to do so. So that's about a $100,000 hit to the budget, in addition to some of the other things. But the harshest thing is it really is attacking some of our most vulnerable.
Absolutely.
And it's, I'm sorry to see that priority going in that area.
Part of the answer to that is this. Are you tense?
No, I'm not tense.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted to hit me or something.
No, I'm not going to hit you. That's quite an honor. Right. No.
See, again, I'm thinking, and I know what I've been told is once it's said, it's open space. It cannot be changed. But I do think, not the tiny homes that you see advertised, but for a lot of our seniors to stay in town, if this land that ordinarily wouldn't be zonable to build, there could be comfy little places built on those. The property could be sold to them for a small amount, and that could make a big difference. When you go back, the big growth in Simsbury was in the early 50s. That's when it started not being a farming community, and just how it's burgeoned since then. But those people are still here and still alive.
Yeah.
And that is a different, what do you want to say when you look at a population? Well,
demographic.
A different demographic, from who lives here now.
Right.
And what has become prized has also become more expensive, and those who were the building blocks sit there and...
But you raise an important point. I mean, one of the things we see all the time is this is a great community to live in, but it's also expensive. And are we making it too unaffordable for those who have been here for too long? And if so, what can we do to fix that? And one of the things the Board of Selectmen talked about, the next board will be looking at, is to whether to increase the tax abatement for seniors who are in need, to sort of lessen some of the pressure there. I mean, it'll never be perfect.
No.
But we are also, the other thing we're so fortunate about in Simsbury is we have so many members of the community who donate regularly to social services and the programs that they offer. So we are able to assist people. And, but you're right, it's hard. And we're in a situation across the state of Connecticut where we rely so heavily on the property tax. And the only way to sustain that is to grow or die. And if you're growing, you're pricing out some of our most needy residents, and that's not a sustainable way to go, and it's not a kind way to go.
Well, here we go. How about putting a very slender affordable housing tower where the mobile station was?
Well, people are looking...
Centrally located.
I think there is some...
Views when you get way up there.
Well, I don't know about that, but you're right. There is a need for affordable housing where people can, empty nest out, or when someone who's just graduated from college can begin the process of integrating into a community. And there isn't enough of that in the state of Connecticut.
No, that's true.
But the question is, how do you fund it and how do you get it going? But there's an absolute need for it. You're right.
Well, this is going to be so much fun for you. Then the Board of Selectmen can come up with all these ideas and all these things, and they can put them in a budget. And then you, on the Board of Finance, it's like, well, yeah, but where's it going to come from? Or what will it do to our bond rating? And, truly, the Board of Finance, in fact, I think our Board of Finance, and with both parties, has just been outstanding for years.
They've done a very good job.
And they take a lot of static. A lot of people take their decisions personally. If a person just imagined themselves sitting there and something they believe and want to see happen, but it's not affordable. There's no money for it, to have to say no. So you're really looking forward sitting on that side of it?
I am, because we do have tremendous challenges coming up. And I the one thing I've learned from this job and my years on the Board of Selectmen is I really do understand the town's budget, and I also understand the state issues. And I think while they're challenging, it's also a very interesting time. How do you balance that? I think our budgets, people forget, they say, we just lower my taxes. But your taxes pay for things that you want and that you need and that we're required by law to provide. And so the budgets really reflect our values, and how do we balance the values of what we have to provide, what we want to provide, caring for our needy, with what the rest of us can afford to pay. But I never think of it as just taxes are going to nothing. If we think that they're going to great, I think they're put to great use.
I think this town does an outstanding job of the use of its revenues.
Yeah, and if you think about the town side, you're paying about $126 a month for the average taxpayer for all the services we offer. That's police, roads, Simsbury Farms, the senior center at the library, the trails, the open space, the parks, animal control, the town clerk.
Paying.
So if you think about what some people pay...
That's a big amount.
No, if you think about what some people pay on a car payment or what they pay for cable or for their computer, it's actually a pretty reasonable...
It's a great price.
It is.
I'm teasing.
Yeah. I mean, sometimes you think government is about something else and not about us, but local government, almost every dollar you contribute, you see the actual benefit. You drive on the roads. Your roads are being cleared from snow by people you know. And you pay for that. It's not going somewhere else. So,
if we look back on your administration, you've done a lot of really super things. And you've gotten cooperation and built a coalition. I want to congratulate you for that. No, seriously, that is
Thank you.
In the past has been a huge challenge in this
has.
community, and it makes a big, big difference on what you can get done. The coalition did, and that's. You listen well, you articulate well, you guide well. So, I'm sure. Well, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing that Eric will be really good at all of that.
I think so. I think he really will be.
Okay. So, but as you look back, are there any things that you say for yourself, ticking off like, I'm really proud, I got that one moved ahead? Or are there some you say, I don't know, if I have more time or if this had landed differently, this is one that it was really disappointing not for it to happen. Want to share any of those?
Sure. So, I think you pointed out when I took over this job, there was a tremendous amount of turmoil in our community, and we were really a dysfunctional board, wholly.
Yeah.
And so to take that, and not just me, but the whole board working together to get us to a highly functional and bipartisan board that got just so much done is the thing I'm probably most proud of.
Okay, good, good.
And then the other thing is one of the things we did to sort of get us to function is initiate a very broad and comprehensive communications plan. So my first Selectwoman's report is fairly comprehensive.
It's very comprehensive.
Open Gov.
Kind of repetitive this last time, but...
Give me a break. So we did that. We Open Gov. We did a citizen's guide to the budget. We did Open GIS to the public. We did a number of things to really communicate, because I think communication is really the foundation of trust. So that's one of the things we worked very hard on. And the other thing I'm proud of is sort of navigating the town through this fiscal chaos.
Yeah.
That was not an easy thing to do, but I feel like we did it very responsibly, and that the public understood what we did. So communicating these very complex ideas was very hard to do, but I have to give our public a lot of credit because they took the time to understand the issues.
I think that's an excellent point. There has to be a willingness to say, I'm going to take advantage of this. I'm going to read this. I'm going to go to that meeting, or I'm going to watch it on SCTV. But also part of the impetus for people to do that is they have to believe they're not digesting a bunch of BS.
Right.
And that, I think, has moved ahead on the positive. A couple years ago, maybe, I started going to the senior luncheon on Wednesday, thinking that if people had Medicare questions, I could help with that. And I've been able to do some of that. But there's some great conversations that people have there. And that's really why I go now. It's very selfish. Sharing ideas and talking about topics and issues, and I would have to say, remarkably absent of somebody just sounding off and not listening. That perhaps because there's been, that bond of breaking bread together, and some of them, I'm just amazed when I find out what age they are. And whoa, no way that can't be. And, so for years and years, that's been a social connection for them. And I think, they wouldn't come to it if they didn't look forward to it. And that's not always easy to find in your life when you begin to age, that there are other people wanting to know what you think.
Right.
And if you're one who wants to know what others think, then you like to have access to them. And I think this program, the communication in the town, has broadened its appeal. And just from this show, people that will stop me are different ages. And they make really good comments about you.
Well, that's nice to hear, Jerry. But I think you're right. One of the things that so impresses me about this community is they're smart, and they understand complicated issues, and they can speak to you, and they might disagree with you, but they will always do it respectfully. Not all, but most.
1, 2, 3. Okay.
But most. But truly, I've door knocked on over 5,000 homes, and most of the people in town and just really have a great understanding of complicated issues. I go to the senior center and I offer, to give updates there, and they are remarkably well informed and ask great questions, and that's not typical in most towns that people are that informed. And so a real credit to the citizens of Simsbury.
I would say that's very so, and that was too another thing about why I didn't want to see the town leader be an employee. This is a really nice area. Avon, Farmington, Granby, East Granby, Canton, all very pleasant places. However, one of the things I did just recently as a result of going to the Senior Center is join the intonations, which if any of you have enjoyed singing in the past, even if your voice maybe now is not what it was, we're really good.
This is true.
And it is. It feels so good. But as we go to these other communities to perform, which we're doing around this season, it's a different feel in the numbers of people who get together and how they are between tables and across one another. It's just a comfortable sense
of home.
Yeah, of belonging.
Yeah.
Of this. Yeah, that's it.
Well, I think the thing that Simsbury has remembered, where perhaps other places across the country have forgotten, is that government isn't done by somebody else, it's done by us. And there's so many in this community step up to do government whether they realize it or not. The Beautification Committee, the Performing Arts Center, the Senior Center, all these things have lots of people who help out. And so, and the other thing we do, and a few things, going back to the things I'm happy we were able to accomplish, is sort of investing. The community has been willing to invest in our assets and our quality of life because they see a value to that, not only to those who are here, but as a business and incentive program and to attract new families. But we're going to see the Greenway expanded on 2 levels, one between Bloomfield and Terriffill and one from Route 10
to happen.
Yeah, both those.
Wonderful.
Grant funding, they're under engineering right now, so those will begin probably in the spring or the fall next year. We saw a lot of improvements over at Simsbury Farms. The pool's been renovated, the ice rink's been renovated, the warming center there. Warming center there, not warning, warming center. And tennis courts, they're working on plans to putting in a basketball court over at Simsbury Farms now. So there's a lot of good stuff. We're going to be doing some renovations in the library, assuming the state funding doesn't fully collapse. And so just a lot of investment. Town Forest Park is being renovated as we speak.
I saw something, I think it was probably one of the weekly publications. And I didn't know quite which way to turn my paper. The big gray rectangle, I assume, was the pavilion, or maybe that was going to be the parking lot.
So they're redoing the parking lot. They're going to do the entrance. There'll be a nice sign. They're just cleaning it up to make it, because we did buy, the Ethel Walker Woods, but there's no nice entryway or good parking spot. So it's really to highlight this beautiful purchase that we did, and so that our residents can actually have access to it and enjoy the area.
Okay, now I'm confused, because I was thinking of Town Park being down from Stratton Brook down past the town garage.
Yes.
Okay, so Town Forest, though, how does it bump up against Ethel Walker?
It actually abuts, so where the water is not the area we're doing right now.
Oh.
But it's the further to the woods.
That's why I was having... Oh, okay.
So it'll be the entranceway to the Ethel Walker Woods for our residents so that they can have access. So we're excited about that. And, of course, what's the big thing that's coming down the road that you and your wife care so much about?
Well, you're going to take the house down by the old Drake Hill Flower Bridge, and it's going to be a beautiful area for people. Now, I understand there's going to be a clothing optional beach there?
No, it's all clothing. But there's going to be a beautiful new pavilion.
How restrictive, how small-minded.
Absolutely, and that's what we're going with. We're absolutely going to be small-minded on that one. But I think that's going to be a spectacular area because the Flower Bridge is already so beautiful, and so the investments we're going to make there will really enhance it. And I think, to know that your town dollars are going towards things that create beauty and that will last for generations is really quite a legacy to leave to our children.
You're right. And in that particular case, I don't know how many places you see 3 generations together anymore, but often on the bridge, when you're working down there, well, certainly bicycles will come by and they'll stop to thank you for it. Young high school couples is not infrequent.
Right.
Girlfriends trying to figure a problem out or taking pictures of one another. And certainly during the day sometime, mom with a couple kids, one on a stroller, one running along. You get on the weekends, and it can be 3 generations that are out there. Mom came up to visit, or she's not able to get around that easily, but she used to be a great gardener. So the couple picks her up, and the grandkids are there, and they have a picnic on the table.
Right.
It provides a pleasant time for people with such wide, different interests. And at lunchtime, you see a lot of workmen down there.
It's lovely.
Eating their lunch. So, I agree with you.
So
and we've got a town where there are lots of places like that do that for people.
And I think that's an important part of how one should spend tax dollars. It's not just about nickel and diming to no purpose, but if you're going to spend it wisely on something that enhances the community and will leave the world just a little better than you found it.
Yeah. A lot better.
A lot better.
Actually. So let me think. I saw a property sign out in front of Andy's, and I didn't know quite what that meant unless they just have a different realtor listing it. I mean, Andy's property. And then on the back side, where People's Pizza is, then that little restaurant, pub, is not so little.
Iron Horse Inn, right. I was just there Monday night, actually.
Yeah, it's very nice.
It's lovely.
People's Pizza is really good. I'm wondering how many people will, in the summer, get there early to have a table outside on the night of a concert and linger for a long period of time.
I imagine that's going to happen. That happens in Baltimore outside of, the stadium. It happens all. And actually, through our charrette, we were hoping to develop that backside of that property along Iron Horse because it's such an opportunity for businesses, for the community. I think it's going to be a great addition. And already, I've been there. It's a lovely inside. They have a nice outdoor seating area and good food.
Yeah, and I suppose on the backside, then you're limited some, on parking. But I was surprised. There did not appear to be that many cars outside when we were in. There were a lot of families there. So there were a lot of people coming in one car.
And it's a great place to go after a sports game or for a team to show up, or you just want to grab a quick bite to eat, and it's within walking distance of Henry James. So I think it's going to be a nice addition, and right across from all the fields. So if you want to go, I think those are the types of things that really make our community so special. Like you say, it's more than just a place where you go and do stuff. It's home.
Yeah.
And it's home because of the amount of time people invest in it, including you and your wife, who, Jan, a shout out to Jan for taping us today. So I'll just say what I said at the meeting on Monday. The journey of First Selectwoman is not a path you walk alone, and there are many people who walked with me on it, and I would like to recognize my family, my husband Jim, and the 2 boys, Rob and Mike, who I talk about. The Board of Selectmen, who really did come together after a little bit of chaos. All the boards and commissions, our state delegation, all the volunteers in the community, right? And my many, many friends who, when I was feeling down, lifted me right up. They used their words to lift up, and town staff. And all these pieces come together to make a successful community. It's not what any one of us does alone, but to be able to walk with so many people.
Well, now, when Simsbury celebrates, not the Simsbury celebrates, but the celebration meal, and it's next week.
Oh, for the holidays.
Yes, for the holidays. Well, one of the intonation songs, Lean on Me, and it is some of the very sentiments that you just said, because in turn, you need to lean on someone too.
Absolutely.
Lisa, I want to thank you for honestly being the person that you are. I think we've been very, very, very fortunate, and you've given who you are, and no BS or anything else. It's just been wonderful.
Thank you. And thank you, Jerry, for all you do. It's been a pleasure.
Okay,
I look
thank you.
forward to these
Okay.
talks all the time.
And thank all of you, and we'll see. If we continue this program, then we hope we'll see you on a monthly basis. It's been State of the Town.